Welcome back to the Legal Brief, the show where we crush the various legal myths and misinformation surrounding various areas of the gun world. I'm your host, Adam Kraut, and today we're talking about how Pennsylvania's Attorney General may have stepped out of line and barred Virginians from carrying in PA.
Tactical Baby Gear offers some of the coolest diaper bags, baby carriers, and day packs for the mom and dad that love freedom. Whether it's the Deuce 2.0 diaper bag combo with the bottle and dump pouches, the Day Pack 3.0, or maybe just the Tactical Teddy, you are bound to find something that works for you and your tactical baby. Also available are the new bulletproof panels that are level 3A Kevlar soft panels that fit inside either the backpack or diaper bag. To get squared away and get 10% off your order, use the code TGC10 at tacticalbabygear.com.
Earlier last week, Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro held a press conference where he announced that his office had taken a year-long review of all of the agreements between Pennsylvania and other states with regards to reciprocity for carrying concealed firearms. Prior to this review, Pennsylvania recognized 28 other states' licenses as being valid here in PA. That number has been bumped up to 29, but with one loss, that being Virginia. As of May 16, 2018, Virginians will no longer be able to carry a concealed firearm here in Pennsylvania under their Virginia license. According to the Attorney General, the only way to do that would be pursuant to a non-resident Pennsylvania license to carry firearms. The good news? Pennsylvania law does allow a sheriff to issue a non-resident permit to people. However, that person must have a license or permit issued by their state of residence. That means people from states like New York and New Jersey are unlikely candidates to obtain one.
Man, that sucks!
The Attorney General dealt another blow to individuals who are not Pennsylvanians by declaring that the state will not recognize any non-resident permit issued by another state. So those of you with the ever-popular Utah or Florida non-resident permits, you're SOL. In other words, if you wish to lawfully carry concealed here in Pennsylvania, you must have a permit or a license issued by your state of residence and be over 21 years of age. And that requires Pennsylvania recognize your state's permit or license. Currently, Pennsylvania recognizes licenses from the majority of states and will continue to do so. That list can be found down in the link in the description. Here in Pennsylvania, there are two ways in which reciprocity is established. The first allows the Attorney General to recognize another state's license as valid, and it's predicated on the condition that that other state recognize Pennsylvania's license to carry firearms, and the laws governing firearms in that state are sufficiently similar to Pennsylvania's, whatever that means. States like Arkansas, Colorado, and Montana are examples of this. The second is by written agreement. Previously, Pennsylvania had a written agreement with Virginia. It would seem, based on the statutory language, that the Attorney General may have exceeded his authority by nixing that agreement. The law gives the AG the power and duty to enter into reciprocity agreements with other states. It also authorizes the AG to negotiate reciprocity agreements and grant recognition of a license or permit to carry a firearm issued by another state. However, the statute is silent on the ability of the AG to rescind any agreement. The law further requires that the AG report to the General Assembly, that's our legislature here in PA, on an annual basis concerning the agreements that were consummated pursuant to the law. In other words, it would appear that the General Assembly retained the power to terminate any agreements based on the reports, since the statute did not specifically authorize the AG to rescind any agreements. Regardless of any legal argument in that vein, Virginians will no longer be able to carry here in PA as of May 16th without a PA non-resident license to carry firearms. This kind of nonsense is exactly why we need national reciprocity. As always, I urge you all to pick up the phone and call your senators to demand they pass legislation that allows individuals to cross state lines without fear of prosecution for exercising their right to self-defense. The Attorney General's assault on firearms rights here in Pennsylvania is not the only problem we as Pennsylvanians face. The legislature is currently hearing a number of bills in committee that are potentially detrimental to our rights. If you're a Pennsylvanian, you need to make your voice heard. Join us in Harrisburg on April 30th at 10 a.m. in the rotunda of the Capitol building. We'll be attending the annual Pennsylvania Right to Keep and Bear Arms rally to let those politicians know we're not going to accept any new gun laws here in PA. Are you sick of bad information finding its way around the internet? Then you need to share this video. Make sure you hit that like button and get subscribed. If you enjoyed the video, consider supporting us via the links down in the video description. If you're looking for a longer version of the video that we make here on TGC, be sure to check out the Gun Collective podcast on iTunes. And as always, thanks for watching.
The shirts worn in today's video on the Gun Collective have been provided by Patriot Patch. Closed captions have also been brought to you by Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to click the link in the video description to check out all of their great products, including their cleaning mats.